Amahl Farouk, the Shadow King, unveiled. The episode title, a huge spoiler alert, and your favorite Marvel couples. Marvel TV Weekly starts now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
All of a sudden, we're all ready. We're all like amped up for the song, and then the song doesn't kick in. When you get the song to the point where it was queued up in the link that I sent you, please, let's hear it then. Oh, yeah! So, like I said, the title of the episode, the song, all of it. Huge spoiler alert, but welcome to Marvel TV Weekly. I'm Christian Bladt, joined as always by...
Amy Cassandra Martinez. Hello.
Our pal Michael Shirley is on assignment, and I believe he is recruiting for the new Avengers. I think that's what he's out doing. But he'll be back next week, and I believe our friend Kari Lane will be back next week too. So we'll get the whole gang back together. But it's just you and me this week, and boy, is there a lot for us to talk about. So, as always, we have to let everybody know that the spoiler curtain has come down. We're going to talk about spoilers from the most recent episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which aired on Friday. So, if you haven't seen it, I might have already ruined it for you. We have kind of surprising and actually very disappointing for me. Ruby.
Yes.
She got ahead of herself. I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke. Thanks to Yo-Yo.
Yes.
But I don't know. I mean, there's a chance maybe she'll still... I don't know. She looked pretty dead to me. Things were not going well for her when the gravitonium was talking to her in her head. And, I think it was inevitable at that moment. I'm like, well, somebody's going to have to take that head off. Didn't know it was going to be Yo-Yo, but super disappointed because we didn't actually get the real fight between Quake and Ruby that I think we all wanted. What do you think, Amy? Do you feel like we got ripped off?
Do I feel like we got ripped off? A little.
In the respect of not getting that fight, like the little fight that they had, you could tell that was like setting us up for the big fight.
Yes, I think honestly for this last episode, I just wanted more action, just more, and so we got it closer to the end, but I would have wanted it earlier, and I was okay with Ruby dying the way she did because I was like, yes, give us something.
It worked for the story, but I just in the moment I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Look at Yo-Yo taking matters into her own hands again. Another bad joke. I can't help myself.
Wow.
They just come to me. But I just was like, it really made sense for the story, and she's like, I saved the world, basically, which I'm gonna bet that the world hasn't been saved yet because there's still 3 more episodes this season. But I don't know. I thought the character was really cool. Even though she was mean to Fitz and Simmons, I still wanted to see the fight between her and Quake. But like, Quake doesn't even use her powers. Daisy's just like, nope, no powers. And then I'm like, so you're not even gonna try to fight her? So that was a letdown. I don't know. Let us know what you think in the chat. If you're watching live, go ahead and comment right now. If you're watching the archive version of this, just go ahead and leave it down below here on YouTube, or you can tweet at me at ChristianDMZ if you're listening on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Apparently, iTunes and Apple Podcasts are the same thing, but different.
I thought you were going to say apple pie.
Yeah, apple pie is also the same.
I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Right, exactly. No, apple pie.
Speaking of apple pies.
Yeah, speaking of apple pies, in the booth at TonyBTony_, and I know we're supposed to save Twitter for the end, but now I've already given 2 of them away. Anthony was having a man's lunch of 2 McDonald's apple pies, and but he was a good Samaritan and he shared one, not with me, but anyway, he shared it. So, Anthony, you're not up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
No, I just wanted to bring up the whole apple pie.
You just wanted to talk about apple pie.
Apple
That's all
pies
right.
are important.
We have some things to talk to you about a little bit later in the show. But I don't know. Let us know what you think. ZSB Lou in the chat, great to see you. Says they ripped us off in the sense of Quake and Ruby having, just one big fight. It would have worked in this episode. There was time for it.
There was definitely time. I think that there were gaps of of time during the episode that they could have easily squeezed something in there because it kind of dragged.
Yeah, and it was like, did they run out of money? Were they saving money in the budget for the season finale? Just what happened? Like,
I think, so this was this last Friday. This coming Friday's episode's right around Infinity War time.
Yeah.
So maybe
it's the same day as Infinity War, this next Friday's episode, yeah.
So maybe they were waiting to something.
Maybe what we get, and look, maybe she's not dead, but she looked really dead. Her head didn't roll off, so maybe the gravitonium is going to like fuse her head back and we're going to get an awesome fight next week. And then I'll come on here and be like, hey, I was wrong. We got our awesome fight. But right now, I feel ripped off. Let us know, like ZSB Lou in the chat, let us know if you feel ripped off too.
I think in the Marvel universe, no one's really dead until they're super, super dead.
And then even then, just give
come back.
Give them 5 years. Jean Grey died forever at the end of the Dark Phoenix saga. And then 5 years later, there she was. Anyway, so we have, that was sort of the big takeaway from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's talk a little bit about Deke and his little crush, because that's not a main storyline, but it's been running through the last few episodes. He's got it bad for Daisy, which I guess is probably pretty obvious from the first time they met. It's the idea. Amy knows what I'm talking about. You know, when you're in like elementary school, the girl you like, you're going to go ahead and pull her pigtails, but actually you really like her.
This actually brings me to a funny little story that you guys might relate to, or ladies you might relate to. 5th grade, this kid tripped me and I got a scab on my knee.
What?
And he liked me and I was like, you're a butt face.
I hope you said butt face.
I
like
did.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how you know. That's how you know.
Yeah, and I don't know, I think it's cute. Not that story, but the fact that Deke likes Daisy so much. It's kind of funny because it creates some good moments for Mac and Coulson to kind of joke around and, you know, because he blurted it out because we were unable to do the show last week. My son was sick. He's feeling much better now. But for those of you who missed us last week, thanks for asking. Basically, Star Drew. I think he was the only one who asked, but he did ask. Fan. Yeah, so we appreciate that. Frozen Archer is saying they had their fight. Why did you want more? They didn't have a real fight. They had so they had like a slap fight, and we wanted a slugfest, and we didn't get it. And ZSB Lou, once again, Deke is whipped like a elementary school, middle school boy, LOL. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. I mean, we're getting to see a lot. Obviously, this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. almost at the end. They're really building. I think they're building to something big. And
Coulson dying, huh?
I still feel like it could happen, but there's some rumblings about someone who will make an appearance in the season finale. And that would be Robbie Reyes, the Ghost Rider. And that would tie into how Coulson is dying because of the deal he made with the Ghost Rider at the end of season 4. So that would be great. And ZSB Lou has this prediction. This is what he wants. This isn't a prediction. This is what he wants. This is his wish list. Okay. So in the season finale, he wants to see Robbie Reyes with a recovered Lash behind him, along with Hellfire, Blizzard, and VJ, Nadir, ready to save the day for whatever team needs them. So that's a lot of superpowered people, and that's like a greatest hits list. And I think that would be very cool. But we'll see if we get it.
I really miss Robbie Reyes, and I
love Robbie Reyes.
I really liked him and Daisy.
Yeah, I thought that they yeah, I know. Oh, love triangle. Sorry, Deke. Oh,
but I think it's a little weird because Deke is Fitzsimmons' grandson. That's weird.
I mean, it's weird, but I don't know. I mean, weirder things happen on comic books, right? I mean,
they do. But I'm a big fan of Robbie Reyes, and I think that he added a lot to the plot. He added a lot to the character dynamics, and it would be great to have him back and keep him on longer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they trying to get their Ghost Rider spin-off show. I mean, it's hard to get these things off the ground, So don't save him, don't keep him on the bench. You got to have him back, and I hope he comes back at the end of the season. And I feel like it would be very fitting if Phil Coulson dies, but I don't want him to die because I like him. It's going to be good storytelling if he dies. But then next season, if there is a next season, I'll be like, I kind of miss Coulson.
Well, you know who else would miss Coulson?
Daisy.
May.
Oh my gosh.
May after finally saying.
So are you team May Coulson? I mean, Melinda Coulson? I'm trying to come up with like a good. I'm putting myself on the spot.
Coulson and May.
Coulson and May. Okay. Molson. No, because that's Melinda and Coulson. There you go. So Molson. That's yeah. Please, if you come up with a better celebrity couple name than Molson, please put it in the chat or tweet it at us. But how do you feel? I mean, I think that's kind of been obvious since last season for sure. I mean, there's always been little hints of it. How do you feel that that May finally told Coulson?
About freaking time, girl.
Right?
Yes. I love them together. I think they're both very strong, powerful people, but sometimes they put up a wall so they don't let anyone in. And I'm glad that Melinda, because we're home skillets like that, she finally told him how she felt. And it's about time. But now it's almost like she told him, so maybe now he's going to die.
ABK88 has it. Felinda. That's it right there. Felinda. I don't know if that's already been come up with somewhere and I just wasn't ready for it. Oh, Frozen Archer says Mason. See, so these are both
that's a human.
Mayson. So we've got Felinda, Mason. I guess Molson is going to get down to the 3 position. So mine is definitely not the front runner.
So neither's mine, Kay.
Yeah, that's true. So we're going to keep trying to get them going. And, you know, it's funny that we're talking about these couples on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because we're not going to get to it just yet. But a little later in the episode, we are going to talk about some of our favorite Marvel couples. And we'll see, is there a couple from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that makes the list? Stay tuned. We will let you know. But there's a lot more to talk about. So where do you think this is going for the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5?
I think Coulson's going to die. I don't think Ruby's fully dead. So something's going to happen. Yo-Yo and Mac.
I think Yo-Yo and Mac are on some pretty hard times right now.
Yeah, Yo-Yo's just been through so much.
Yeah, I mean, she keeps running with the bionic arms, even though she shouldn't. So I feel like there's going to be some real problems.
When she just took them off. Like when she screamed, I didn't scream. I just felt her pain.
Yeah, but not literally.
Not literally.
Because you still have arms.
Nice. Yeah. They're right here, guys.
Last time I checked.
Yes, and these are mine. Daisy. You know, I'm hoping that Deke does something else that makes him more helpful.
He's gonna save her life in some way.
Okay.
You know,
see?
I feel like that's the only way that the Daisy and Deke, and you good luck coming up with that celebrity couple name, the Deke Daisy. I'll let somebody else come up with it. The Deke Daisies. There's a rock band called the Dead Daisies. The Dekies. That's not great, but we'll work on it. We'll workshop it. We'll let everybody, you know. So we've got a lot of celebrity couple names to come up with, basically. Anyway, I'm just interested to see how it all plays out. I think that the season is finishing up strong. They're not running out of steam. I'm very critical of last season in the framework, but I'm just saying me.
The framework was honestly more exciting to me.
Well, I loved the first half of this season, the part in space, but I still find them trying to prevent that kind of fascinating because, look, there's a chance that they might not actually prevent it. So we'll see what happens if they don't.
Well, did you get the little peek of next week?
I saw a little bit, but now I don't remember anything. I definitely saw it, but I just don't remember. But
aliens are involved.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just like aliens.
There's always aliens involved.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so let us know what you think of how season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is playing out. What your predictions are for the season, and we will talk more about it next week because we still got a few more weeks to go. Again, we weren't here last week, and so one thing that we didn't talk about in Legion was that we finally had revealed to us, oh, that's super creepy every time they show it. Yeah, I'm not, my son will do that. He'll chatter his teeth and I'll just be like, stop. Anyway, we have, they've revealed to us the image of Amahl Farouk, who is the actual Shadow King. And Anthony, when I was telling you that there were links to click on in the email, I forgot that there were also 2 Amahl Farouk graphics. There's one that we see the actor who portrays him on the show, and they did a great job casting the actual Amahl Farouk. The actor's name is Naveed Negahban. Let's say Negahban. This is an H, so it's hard to... it could be Nagahaban, you know, it could be anything.
That's a cool name.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and by the way, he's not just on Legion right now. He's currently filming Disney's remake of Aladdin, directed by Guy Ritchie. So,
Hey.
yeah. Along with Will Smith, Naomi Scott, and some other people. So good for him. But anyway, he, as you can see for those watching on YouTube right now, thank you for getting that so quickly, Anthony. He is definitely the embodiment of the comic book Shadow King, which we'll show when time permits. And I think it's interesting. I have a familiarity with David, the Legion character, and definitely with the Shadow King. But I imagine it's a little hard to follow because it's a little hard for my wife to follow. And I think part of it is it's a TV show and they like keeping Aubrey Plaza around. She doesn't really need to be around because now that we've actually met Amahl Farouk, we've met the Shadow King. And there he is with the big, scary purple monster behind him.
I like that.
He's a little bigger in the comics, but I think they did a great job in casting this actor.
Real quick, I can't help but admit that he looks just like Kingpin from the Spider-Man animated series.
He just looks like Kingpin.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he's in the all-white suit, and for those watching on YouTube, apparently he's possessed by Grimace from McDonald's to bring it all back to the apple pies. In any case, I think that it was very cool, the sit-down that David had with Farouk. You know, at the basically like the Lucy from Peanuts, you know, the advice counter.
Yes.
You know, advice 5 cents. So it's all hard to follow, I think. But as I've talked about on this show, the toughest thing about Legion is that it airs Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, 9 Central, whatever. But that's still late. And you know, I have 2 kids. It's a show that comes on at 10. It's very hard to keep me awake. I can probably stay awake just through the Americans, but this show, it'll be quiet and it does really weird mind-bendy stuff. I have trouble staying awake, so I've started watching it during the day. And it's a much better show during the day because you see it and you can actually take it in. It's like, this is beautiful. I love this show. There's so much happening. It's a little hard to follow.
It is hard to
How are you
follow.
finding it to follow this season? Because you like binged season 1, dove right into season 2.
Yes, I am all caught up with everything that we're talking about. So first of all, I feel fantastic and I feel like I'm in the loop.
You probably are exhausted from just watching so much TV.
I am exhausted, but I'm just mostly confused with Legion. I love it in just how beautiful it looks and how amazing these actors are.
Yeah.
But honestly, the plot, I'm like, what in the world? But they do tie up some things where they make it clear for the viewer. But there are still times where I'm like,
yeah, it's a lot of cool ideas that are really presented in a visually interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the show, usually my wife and I are like, all right, so what just happened? Like, what actually happened? Not what did somebody imagine they saw, you know, like the little like slug slithering under the bed, you know, little things like that. You know, so what actually happened in the real world? And then so much stuff happens in the astral plane. And then you're like, was that a real world scene or was that a astral plane scene? And
real world, Marvel.
by the way, great idea, real world. And let's also have a Road Rules Marvel too.
Oh,
You
there
know,
you go.
look, I mean,
Wow, I'm surprised no one has done any of that online. Imagine all our heroes just being drunk.
yeah.
Well, I can imagine Jessica.
I can imagine.
the
Well, Jessica and Logan, both of whom have
Hey.
some kind of healing factor, and so they both drink a lot because they can. I would like to see a drinking contest. That right there, I don't even need a show built around it.
There we
I just
go.
want to see like cases and cases. Although Jessica doesn't really drink beer, so let's just have lots of liquor. Jessica on one end, Logan on the other, and just see who actually walks away from the table.
It'll be
Probably
Jessica.
take a week though for either of
Yeah.
them. You know. In any case, let us know what you think about Legion, though. I do think that Dan Stevens, who plays David, he's fantastic. I think everybody in the cast is good, but he really stands out because he's doing some really random stuff. You know, my wife had fallen asleep during the season premiere enough so that she had to rewatch it, and she texted me. I forget where it was, and she's like, Legion, and then the next line is WTF. I'm like, well, wait, which part? And she's like, the dance off. And I'm like, yeah, they do love dancing on this show. And I'm sure it's really fun to choreograph, but you're like, does there really need to be so much dancing?
I like the little pockets of what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like each scene, you just don't know what to expect. So they could be having a dance off. They could have a bunch of people chattering, you know, in a room. Like these are the cool moments of the show.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I think that the weird, creepy visuals are really the takeaway. I mean, from like scary monster version of the Shadow King from season one, like the nightmare. You miss him?
I miss him.
You know, he'll probably come back. He'll be looking for hugs in season two. We have some theories. The aptly named in the chat, Xavier Jones Jr. I don't believe John Sublime nor Mr. Sinister are the hidden villains during this season. I do, however, kind of believe that the actor John Hamm quite possibly may be playing the role of a powerful personality of David's that was kept at bay from taking over David's psyche only by the Shadow King. So I think that theory comes from the fact that there's a lot of narration from a guy who sounds like John Hamm. I don't believe that's John Hamm, and I say that because my wife worked on Mad Men, and we know his voice. And I don't think that was him. But go ahead and look it up because you might be right. He does sound a little different. He had some vocal surgery to repair something, and he's also the voice of car company. So I hear his voice a lot. However, I think it would be very interesting. Xavier goes on, not Professor Xavier. We have to remember David was missing for close to a year, and that could be more than enough time for a personality or personalities to...
2017.
What's that, 2017 narrator? What is this exactly? Is this... Did you look up...
John Hamm.
You looked up John Hamm. So there you go. So that is John Hamm. So we both sit here corrected because both of my wife and I were like, that sounds like John Hamm. But then my wife was like, well, that wouldn't be him. But I think it was because she's surprised. So that's a great theory right there. I didn't mean to be so dismissive of it, Xavier Jones Jr. or Sr. That would be interesting that narration comes from some sort of basically, one of David's personalities. Because something that we haven't dealt with on the show is that David is so super powerful and he has these very distinct personalities, each of which have different powers. So it'll be interesting if we start to get more of that as this season goes along. Anyway, I love when people have theories for all the shows that I do. This show or Star Trek Weekly, we get theories that I'm just like stuff that I hadn't thought about. And the people in our chat very often are right. So I appreciate all of that, and it'll be great because now it's something that when I watch tomorrow night's new episode, I'll be like, "Hey, it's John Hamm," and my wife will be asleep, so I'll have to poke her and wake her up. Anyway, let us know your theories and where you feel the show is going, and it'll be interesting to see. I like that we've met the Shadow King, and then this idea that he has to be reunited with his body. I feel like Future Sid is not a real Future Sid, and I think somebody's playing David. That's what I feel like the Shadow King is playing him and pretending to be Future Sid. I might be wrong, but that's my theory that I'm putting out there. And let me know if you agree or disagree, Amy and everyone else. You're like, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. This show is absolutely confusing to me.
Yes, I definitely agree. Yeah, I appreciate its confusion. And before we move on to our favorite Marvel couples, before we run out of time, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Friday's the big day.
What big day?
Infinity War.
Oh, the small little movie.
So we're gonna have to talk. Yeah, it's a little art house film that it's a modest cast of people who all worked for scale because they believed in the vision of the filmmaker. So Infinity War. We're going to have to talk a lot about it next week. And I know Michael won't have seen it because Michael doesn't go to the movies. He just got Logan and he just watched Spider-Man Homecoming like 2 weeks ago. So he's a little behind the curve. But he's also somebody that is just like whatever about spoilers. So he'll probably be interested in hearing that. But when are you seeing it, Amy? And let us know in the chat when you're going to see it. Who's going Thursday at 7 o'clock, the first time you can see it? Who's going at midnight? Who's already been to an advanced screening? And if you have, I hate you.
So you're about to hate me
because you're going to go.
I'm going tomorrow at 7 for an advanced screening.
So Tuesday at 7.
Yes. And Friday at my regular movie theater and Saturday, IMAX.
Wow. So you've got three between now and our next show. You're going to have seen it 3 times.
Yes. So I will have lots of thoughts. Also, did want to say that tonight I think it's over by now, the red carpet for it here in LA.
Yes, there were a lot of closures. I do some podcasts in Beverly Hills on Monday, and had to go around some street closures in Hollywood.
Who else had to go around street closures?
I bet it was you.
No.
Oh.
No, it was Chloe Bennett. She was almost gonna be like Daisy.
I love Chloe Bennett. She's a great follow on Instagram. She's never been on this show, and I don't think she's ever been on any AfterBuzz shows. So we just like her. She's a great follow, and she's very funny. She has pictures of her dogs and stuff, and her friends on set.
She was on her way to go to her house to change, to get ready for the premiere, and she was like, I don't want to be late because of the premiere, because the closures
is making it late for her to get to her house. Well, that's great.
But she got there, and she looked lovely.
I don't doubt it. Did she have on the Quake like bands?
You'll have to follow her.
I do, but I'll have to catch up. Yeah, on her Instagram stories.
Yes.
In any case, so
when are you seeing it?
I am going to see it Friday morning, probably like around 10 a.m. or so, because you got to get the one kid off to school, and then the other kid will be with the babysitter. And my wife's about to go back to work. It's her last day before she goes back to work on a week from tonight. So so we have a very romantic date morning. We'll probably have lunch after, or lunch might be the bottomless bucket of popcorn I get. Maybe I'll let her, I don't know, have some Swedish fish or something as well.
Okay.
Because it'll be very romantic. But anyway, I can't see it without her. So I was like, great. Well, we're doing that on Friday morning. So I'm excited. And everybody let us know when you're seeing it. Anthony, I understand you are not excited for Infinity War.
What? What's going on?
I wanted to call you out because you are not excited.
Oh yeah, sure. Go right ahead. I don't. As of this moment, my mood is don't really care.
All right. Well, I want to see where that mood is a week from tonight. If it's in the same place, so be it.
It's probably gonna be exhausted from hearing all about it and like how great it was or whatever. I'm sure it's gonna be good. I'm just personally, I'm not like psyched for it. I'm more psyched for Ghost Stories that's coming out with Martin Freeman. It's supposed to be one of the greatest horror films coming out of the UK of this year. So pretty pumped for that. I'll get a Marvel movie every year,
Sometimes you get 3 in a year. I mean, if you count the Fox movies, we've got Deadpool coming out next month.
I actually like those.
Oh, okay.
I'm more excited for those.
All right, fair enough. Well, we'll see. Let's just find out where Anthony's at a week from tonight. And by the way, ABK88 says about going to the movies with my wife. Let her eat what she wants. LOL. Yes, of course. Whatever she wants to get, she can have.
And always bring chocolate, just in case.
Oh,
just in case.
My wife brings the big purse when we go to the movies because you got to bring.
She's not alone.
Aha! See, I like that. All right.
I do too, actually.
Yeah. Rook's Gambit says, I'm super hoping that Infinity War doesn't end in a cliffhanger, but also super expecting it will. Let me tell you my expectation. I've talked about on the show how I think some of our favorite characters are going to die and stay dead. I feel like this is going to be like the Marvel Empire Strikes Back, where it's just all this bad stuff happens and it ends, and there's going to be like one little glimmer of hope, and then you're going to sit around for a whole year, and then you're going to be like, oh man, how are they going to get out of that? And it's going to take all the like phase 4 and phase 5 superheroes coming together and really like beating Thanos. I think it's going to be tough sledding for a little while there after the end of Infinity War, because I think that Thanos is going to get the Infinity Gauntlet probably with like a half hour left in the movie, and he's going to just really mess some stuff up, and it's going to be really bad at that point. Stardew says no one will die in part 1. I disagree. I think people will die in the first 5 minutes.
People will definitely die.
Yeah.
I have read Thanos Quest, and I've read Infinity Gauntlet, like the comic books.
Yeah.
The issues, all of those. And there are a lot of deaths, so I'm expecting deaths. I think a lot of us are, and we would be very disappointed if no one died.
I mean, there'll be a part of me that'll be like, oh, good, more movies with them. But yeah, I just expect it.
Okay,
and Rook's Gambit is saying, no, not a whole year before it comes out, but it's essentially a year before the next one comes out. And since I'm old, I will tell you, I remember having to wait the 3 years between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, all right? So, yeah, a year is not that bad. 3 years is interminable, so...
I can speak a little bit to that with Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, but those movies only come out like a year. Oh, were you talking about the books?
No, not the books. The movies.
Yeah,
they weren't exactly a year.
Oh, okay.
Some felt longer, some
But
were
you could have
longer.
read the books if you wanted to know what happened.
I could have, but I was already dedicated to the characters that were being portrayed. on like in the movies.
Wait,
so
real quick, how long is this? Or it's only gonna be 2 main parts, right? To this one.
To this, yes.
Okay.
part 1, part 2, no
Stardew,
title.
where are you coming from? He says that there's a part 2, 3, 4. Come on.
Well,
like,
yeah. So I mean, you know, there'll be more Avengers-like movies, but it'll be with different characters. I think. I think they have it all mapped out. And by the way, because Xavier Jones mentioned, did you hear about the Eternals project and Nova they have planned? Yes, Xavier, I did hear about both of those. I was kind of waiting for a little bit more about the Eternals. They're kind of lesser-known characters. They had a 12-part miniseries in the mid-'80s that I remember reading. It's kind of the only time I remember reading them. Nova is kind of a cool character from the 70s that's come back a couple of times. I think that he's going to be perfect for sort of the universe that's going to include Captain Marvel and some of these other characters as well. I think we'll get more of a chance to talk about those in the future, but I am glad you mentioned them. I'm sort of saving those topics for when we get a little bit more information, because right now it's just, hey, did you hear there's going to be an Eternals movie? And I hope to know more.
Real quick, I also have another question. Maybe you guys can enlighten me, but like, so there's gonna be is there gonna be Marvel movies coming out between the first part of Infinity War and so how's that work then?
Well,
aren't they gonna be under the whole
I think
war? I guess
Ant-Man is not in Infinity War, from what I understand, because his movie comes out like not even 2 months. It's like 6 weeks later. It's like 4th of July ish. Like whatever that is, like July.
In our time. Not
Yeah, you know, in real time. It comes out like 2 months later.
Right.
So I think Ant-Man and the Wasp are off doing something else, and they're not involved in Infinity War.
Okay.
But
they might be in the second part?
yeah, well, I think that might happen, but I don't actually know for sure. Hey, we won't know until we see all these movies, won't we?
True.
Anyway, everybody let us know your plans for Infinity War. And if you're watching this and it's after Thursday and you've already seen it, or if you're aiming, it's after Tuesday, go ahead and let us know how you saw it, where you saw it, what you thought of it.
And what shirt you wore.
Oh, yeah, I know. This is going to be tough for me because I'm going to probably wear like 4 shirts and I'll change during. There's 1 year... Complete tangent. 1 year during the MTV Video Music Awards, Michael Stipe from REM, he's a singer of REM, REM was nominated for 12 awards. So Michael Stipe wore 12 T-shirts, thinking he was going to win all of them. And that's just a little kernel of why I don't like him. But anyway, it's not really a topic for this show. And then when he won at the end of the night, he had to take off like 4 of the shirts so that he could show them off. So anyway, I'm going to basically pull a Michael Stipe, and I'm going to wear 12 shirts to the movie.
That's
and
great. You should wear 18.
I don't
all
have
the movies.
I don't have 18 shirts. You know, I probably do actually.
Yeah.
Anyway. In any case, let us know. Anyway, so now for the fun topic in the last like 10, 12 minutes that we have here. I thought it would be fun because, you know, we were talking about some of the relationships on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wanted to talk about our favorite Marvel couples, and we'll signify which version of it we've picked. They can be from the movies, and I know this is Marvel TV Weekly, but also from the comics, but we will definitely talk about some TV couples. I feel as though it's only polite if I say ladies first. So, Amy, they're not really in an order, but if you have them ranked in an order, go ahead. But just give us one of your couples.
So I have to say that this decision was not made easily because there are a lot of amazing couples in the Marvel Universe. But my first one, in no particular order, is Fitz and Simmons.
I'm glad you chose them. They were my honorable mention.
Which is absolutely crazy to me that they were your honorable mention. But
it's just how much I like the other couples more.
There they are. Yes. I want to say it was season 3. And
when they end up at the bottom of the ocean?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Framework and a little bit.
That's season 4 was the framework.
Before that.
A lot of terrible things have happened to Fitz and Simmons, so it's hard to keep track.
Sure.
Yeah.
But 3 and 4 were the ones where I was like, this is what I wanted, and I wanted to see them.
Oh, what about when she like went off into space?
That's what I'm saying. Yes,
so that's season 3. Yeah.
But even a little bit of Ada, that whole situation.
Don't.
You're a big fan of Ada, I know.
Huge fan of Ada. Love her. Can't wait till she comes back.
Well, I mean, I'm not that big of a fan that I'd want her to come back. No. But definitely them. Do you want me to say my second?
No.
Just one and one,
so you talk
one
about that,
and
and I'll just say how
Okay.
much I like them. I do like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the show. I'm a little critical of some storylines that they've had and things, but the constant, I've always liked Fitz and Simmons. I mean as individual characters, but also as sort of the team. And just, look, I don't ship a lot, but when I do, it's Fitz and Simmons. And look, if there could only be one couple in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I want it to be them. Love Mac and Yo-Yo and Fulson. I just made that up. I know. Felinda. Whatever the possible.
It's the same person. I got you. Okay.
You got me. Anyway, so that's why. So that's my honorable mention. That's your number 3. So for me, these are not ranked in any order because for me they're kind of all number 1. I am going to go with Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy from the movies. Now, from the comics, I'm actually a Peter and MJ guy because I read when they got married, and I don't know, I was very excited for them, that they finally found each other. But the Gwen Stacy story is so tragic, and look, there's a lot of things that people don't like about the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. And the thing that I don't understand anybody having a problem with was anytime the two of them were together on screen. Those movies are great because of those scenes. You can talk all you want about Jamie Foxx's Electro, and there's a lot of things that you're wrong about. I mean, that you're not wrong about, but the two of them on screen together, even in the second one, even when you see her, she shows up in the outfit that she dies in the comics, and you're just like, oh, but maybe not. I saw that movie with my sister-in-law. She had no idea that Gwen Stacy was going to die, and you didn't either when you saw it, Amy.
Not.
And when my sister-in-law saw it, it was like very audible, like really loud. She did not expect that, and
that scene would definitely not have been as powerful had they not had that very strong chemistry. And obviously, they were together at the time.
Yes, in real life they were actually together.
But it's heartbreaking that they're no longer together.
Well, you know what? Their relationship died the way that the fictional character did.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed that specific scene of that movie.
So you're saying you liked when she died?
I love that
Anthony,
scene.
You're a terrible person.
I love that. That made me cry. I was.
Okay.
Yes.
So I thought you were saying it because you were glad she died. That's actually what
that's like. If there's one saving grace about the whole franchise with Andrew Garfield of being said Spider-Man, it's the death scene of.
The Gwen Stacy death scene is heartbreaking, and it's so well done.
The wet hand that comes out, oh my god!
And
Tears.
I knew exactly what was happening, and it still got me. I didn't gasp audibly like Brittany, my sister-in-law, but
her neck just snaps back and hits the ground. Oh,
yeah. Well, that's from the comics. That's the tragedy. Is that the Green Goblin in the comics doesn't kill her; he kills her trying to save her, and that's something that kind of got glossed over because I think it's just way too dark.
It is dark.
It's just like, if you'd let her fall, there might have been a chance because she would have fallen in the water. That's not in the movie. That's in the comics. And Amazing Spider-Man number 121. That's on my read list for you. I meant to bring that in for you, but I forgot.
Whatever. That's cool. I don't read anything either.
I told you to read the Dark Phoenix saga, and you haven't. All right. So as soon as you read it, I'll give you more.
Fair enough. I'll simmer down.
Exactly. Anyway, I don't want to run out of time, and I could talk about this couple forever. Amy, what's your next couple?
I'm gonna go with. It depends.
Depends on who he has.
There we
queued
go.
up.
Pepper Potts and Iron Man.
I think that they are
Tony
they are a
Stark.
good couple. I think that she is the only person that Tony Stark could actually even consider settling down with.
Well,
She's the only person who just gets him in the right way and can actually talk to him in the way he needs to be talked to.
The end of Spider-Man: Homecoming, he proposes, and it's very sweet. And
Yeah,
I
but
like
he
it.
only proposes because Pete didn't want to be the Iron Spider and move into the new
I
Avengers
know.
mansion.
Okay, I'm gonna look over that. But I recently was doing a rewatch of all 18.
Good for you. I
movies.
wish I had the time for that.
But yeah, it just made me realize that Pepper and Tony they're just so. I think people don't give Pepper enough credit, and I give her credit. So.
I think that they're a great couple, and I believe they're a couple in the comics now, but I admit fully that I don't actually read very closely anymore. But a couple that is now together in the comics and are engaged and are getting married. And I've talked about them already on this show, and we've used this picture before, but here we are again. Kitty Pryde and Colossus. They meet at a time where apparently in comics it was okay for a 13-and-a-half-year-old to be dating a 19-year-old. Not something that you'd get now. I don't know. Look, I was a kid. I was reading it, and I just thought they were really cute together. I liked them together, and she just loved him so much. And I'm glad that now, as adults, they still find each other, and they're going to end up together. That is, I don't buy a lot of new comics. When that comes out, I am there. I can't wait to. You know what? I might even cry that day.
Aww.
You know, I'll imagine myself walking Kitty down the aisle because I feel like I'm giving her away. To a good man, Colossus, whom we all love in Deadpool. Anyway.
Wait, can I play along? I think I have a third.
Okay, sure.
3. Rogue and Gambit.
Rogue and Gambit are a great couple that we get to see. You get to see a little bit of that on the animated series.
Yeah, specifically from the animated series.
Yeah,
Where I saw it.
they were definitely, they dealt with it a lot more in the comics. I have an whole issue with Gambit from the comics that we don't have time to get into now, but I did like that couple. I do think that they were good together. It's hard of course, for Rogue to be with anybody. So the fact that she found Remy LeBeau, I think I was very happy for her because you felt like there weren't a lot of things in Rogue's life that made her happy. I guess this is your number one, right?
Well, they're no particular
Because mine are all
order.
number one. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like them all. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
Oh. Well, then how do you feel about Claire getting in the way and messing it all up?
She doesn't get in the way. Here's the thing. I want Claire to be happy. And whoever
But she is happy.
I know, but she was with Matt as well. And with Luke. So, she can... But then Matt was with Elektra. But I don't know. The fact
And Matt's with Karen, too. So Matt...
Oh, see,
Matt's a bit of a playboy. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Everyone gets around that.
That's true.
I mean-
By the way, that Netflix universe, I mean, Luke Cage has been with, everybody.
They all get around
I'm
it,
surprised he hasn't
Been
been with
around the
Colleen
block.
Wing yet. Maybe he
Hey,
will.
well.
I'm just saying. What?
No. But the fact that they're both so insanely strong, obviously, if you've seen the Marvel shows, you know
Let's
how
just say
they break
rock
things.
The bed.
They do rock the bed. And,
I
there
just
was a
love that.
point, I know it's a different universe, but there was a point in DC Comics where Superman and Wonder Woman were together. And you're just like, well, yeah, that makes sense because they're both super strong.
Yeah.
Superman with Lois Lane, there's a very hilarious
that's-
monologue. There's a
oh.
hilarious monologue in Mallrats about that I won't get into because it's inappropriate. But... it makes sense that it's not like he was married to Lois and then he stepped out on her. He actually started dating Diana. Anyway, so that's what you get. And I agree that I do like the pairing of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, but because they each have their own show, they're just not gonna be able to be together long term.
Well, but in the comics,
Yes.
they have a child together.
Yes.
Correct? Yes. So I like that even more because I know what they look like in our world here.
And because you love, that's what everybody can say about
That's it.
Amy.
That's true.
My other number one, my 1A, B, and C are Hawkeye and Mockingbird. Now, Mockingbird, you will know Amy as Bobby from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is Mockingbird. They decided not to have Hawkeye married to Mockingbird in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Wow.
So the good character did not go to waste. So I loved when she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then they were going to do the Most Wanted show
Yes.
with the two of them. And then it didn't go off the ground. And then that actress ended up on the Orville. So we don't get Bobby anymore, which is kind of disappointing. But this is a couple that I really liked. And it's why I liked the West Coast Avengers more than the OG Avengers. Hawkeye and Mockingbird, they're a great couple. They ended up divorced like most Marvel couples. I think Reed Richards and Sue Simmons even get divorced. Sue Simmons. They actually get divorced too. Everybody gets divorced,
That's
I think.
sad.
Yeah, exactly. And Ivan Solo says, I miss Bobby and Hunter on S.H.I.E.L.D. And by the way, Ivan also says, your reactions are adorable to all the couples where it's like, yay, and no.
It's like a romantic comedy.
I know, exactly.
But a little dramatic.
And yes, you're right, Ivan, that the Orville is so funny that it's hard to be mad that that's the reason why,
I'm happy for her.
Rook's Gambit points out that David and Sid on Legion, it's a lot like Rogan Gambit because Sid doesn't want to touch anybody, but because he's such a powerful mental telepath, he's able to, they're able to get it on. It's the classy way to put that, right?
I did want to say that they're not in an actual relationship, but they're very close friends. Matt and Foggy were one of my honorable
I mean, they have a different kind of love.
Yes.
But I love Matt and Foggy.
They're so great together.
Yeah, and that's a couple we need to get back together sometime soon. I guess Daredevil season 3. Anyway, that was. Let us know. We're getting some great suggestions in the chat, and you can leave them after the show. If you're watching the archive version, or if you're just listening to the iTunes Apple Podcast version, just go ahead and leave the comments. You can tweet them at us. And that was a fun conversation. We will be back next week, and we'll read through some of your favorite Marvel couples if you want to send them to us. And you can send those to me at ChristianDMZ. And Amy, where do people find you?
On all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ. And I did want to say thank you so much for tuning in and joining us, because you have plenty of choices for your entertainment and you chose us.
And Amy, they can also find you over on the Popcorn Talk Network on Marvel Movie News.
Yes, there are a lot of shows that I currently do, but as far as Marvel, yes, it's Marvel
Two
TV.
Marvel shows.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And tomorrow we are going on later than usual.
Oh, right, because you have to go see the movie.
They're going to see it.
Oh, they're going to see it.
And then
Anyway.
I'll see it later.
All right. Well, and then sometimes you show up on the Legion panel. So you're all over Marvel TV, and we're lucky to have you. And we will be back here at the same time next Monday. After next Monday, we're going to start doing the show Sundays at 10 Pacific. So get ready for that, but we'll be back next Monday. Thanks so much, everybody. And until then, Excelsior!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.